All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're digging into a really simple, but honestly, a pretty mind-blowing idea from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's one of those concepts that, once you get it, can totally flip how you think about work, money, and, well, your whole future.
So, I want you to start with this question right here. Just think about it for a second. It seems pretty straightforward, right? But your honest answer really gets to the heart of everything we're about to talk about. It shows you the path you're on right now, and believe it or not, it all starts with a story about two kids.
So the story kicks off with a 9-year-old Robert Kiyosaki and his best friend Mike. They basically got tired of being left out by the richer kids in the neighborhood, so they went to Mike's dad, the man Robert calls his rich dad, and they asked him a really simple question. Can you teach us how to get rich?
Now, Rich Dad's first lesson wasn't some boring lecture in a classroom. Oh no, he made them live it. He offered them a job in one of his stores, dusting canned goods. He wanted them to get a real taste of what it actually feels like to work for a paycheck.
And the pay? Get this, a measly 10 cents an hour. I mean, even for the 1950s, that was next to nothing. They'd work for 3 hours and walk away with just 30 cents. But hey, they took the job, thinking this was their first big step towards getting rich.
Well, after just a few weeks of this, they were so over it. They felt totally used, underpaid, and just plain angry. So they marched back to Rich Dad, all fired up, ready to quit and demand a raise. And that was the moment he was waiting for. That feeling of frustration, that was the real lesson.
So Rich Dad sits them down and explains that for most people, their financial lives aren't guided by their brains. They're run by two incredibly powerful emotions, fear and greed. And you told them, if you don't understand these two things, you will be their slave for the rest of your life. First, you've got fear. The fear of not having money, right? The fear of not being able to pay the bills. That fear is the alarm clock that wakes you up every morning and shoves you out the door to a job you might not even like. Then, the second you get that paycheck, another emotion kicks in. Greed. Or maybe a better word is desire. You see all the cool stuff money can buy, and you just want more.
And when you combine that fear and that greed, well, you get a really powerful trap. Rich Dad had a name for it, the rat race. It's this nonstop cycle of working for money just to pay your bills. And getting a bigger paycheck doesn't mean you're free. It usually just means you have bigger expenses.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Wake up, go to work, pay bills. You get a raise? Great! Now you can afford a nicer car, a bigger house, which means bigger car payments and a bigger mortgage. And now you have to work even harder to pay for it all. The wheel just spins faster and faster, but you're not actually getting anywhere.
But here's the critical part. The good news. There is a way out. Rich Dad explained that the trap isn't really the job itself. It's a trap in your head. It's your mindset. And escaping it means you have to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking about money in a completely different way.
So what is this big secret, this different way of thinking? What did the rich know that most people don't? How do they avoid getting stuck on that spinning wheel their entire lives?
The answer is so simple it almost sounds wrong, but it's profound. They don't work for money. Not in the way that we're all taught to anyway. This one single idea is the key that unlocks the whole thing. It changes the entire game.
This quote really nails it. Instead of trading their time for a paycheck, the rich spend their time building or buying assets, things that make money for them, whether they're physically working or not. Their money basically becomes their hardest working employee. Okay, so that was the story. Pretty powerful stuff, right? Let's boil it down into the core principles. What are the big lessons we can pull from this and actually use in our own lives?
So what can we take from all this? First, you've got to recognize how that fear of being broke really does control people. Second, understand that just getting a bigger paycheck isn't the solution. A lot of the time, it just makes the cage bigger. The real escape plan is learning about money, financial education, and all of that leads to the main goal, shifting your entire focus from working for money to making your money work for you. And here's the bottom line. As long as a paycheck is the only thing filling up your bank account, you're totally dependent on someone else. You are, by definition, in the rat race. The whole point is to build other ways to get paid, to build assets that make you money even when you're sleeping. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you spending your life working for money, or are you working to build systems, assets, businesses, investments that will eventually pay you? Because the answer to that question, well, that's what's going to define your financial future.